Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock and welcome to ARK Survival Ascended. This is going to be a Let's Play where I'm going to be playing ARK on the island, which is the first map that you get in ARK. It was the original map that came out. Survival Ascended is a remastering of ARK Survival Evolved, which is the original game that came out about 8 years ago. ARK Survival Ascended is still technically in early access, so keep that in mind if you're interested in the game. It's not fully launched yet, and I don't know, apparently no time during calendar year 2024 will the game fully launch. I don't normally buy early access games, but it was on sale a little bit, and I love the game ARK, so I wanted to try doing a Let's Play with it. So let's go ahead and create a game, and we'll talk about, this is not really going to be a gameplay episode, so if you want to see gameplay, please go and watch the next episode. I'm going to call this episode 0. This is setup. Now, I've done most of the setup already, but I just want to show you guys my settings so that if you want to play along, you can use the same settings if you want. I may change some of these. I have to see how it works. So one of the things to be aware of is that ARK is meant to be a multiplayer game played on a persistent world server that runs 24/7. If you play it, you can play it single player on your desktop, and it's only active when you play. But if you do it that way, you have to rescale some things because a lot of the timers are set assuming that the server is going to be running 24/7 and assuming that you're going to be on a multiplayer guild and you're going to have people helping you. So I'm going to be playing this game on hard mode, but I am going to be playing it with some tweaks to it. So let's take a look. We're going to be doing the island. So the progression in ARK is after you finish the island, you can quote-unquote ascend, and I'm not exactly sure how that works because I've never done it, to the next map called Scorched Earth, or you can just start there if you want. And then if you finish Scorched Earth, you can ascend to Aberration, or you can just start there if you want. The Center and Club ARK are different maps. There are other maps that you can download that are done by modders and stuff, but the official progression is the island, Scorched Earth, Aberration, and then Extinction, which has not been released for the remastered version of ARK yet. Let's take a look at the mods. I only have a few. These are mostly to make my life easier as a soloist who's only going to be playing a few hours a week, right? So Chief Stacks 500 just allows stacks in your inventory to be 500 instead of 1 or 200. Just makes it a little easier just to manage the inventory. Easy's Engram Unlocker we'll talk about when we get there, but it basically unlocks all of the blueprints as you gain levels so that you don't have to buy them, because normally you can't buy them all. The Death Recovery mod we'll talk about when we get there, but it allows you to pull all of your stuff off your corpse to one place, basically a gravestone. Awesome teleporters allow us to teleport around the map because we don't have people to help us. Marnie mods is just cosmetic hairstyles, and the crafting skill potion is there so we don't have to keep respecking our character to add points into crafting skill to make certain crafts. So those are the mods that we're using. This is the mod order I have been loading in, and it seems to work. Now, in terms of the game rules, I'm going to try to be as brief as I can here. You can do base settings for players, creatures, structures that you can build, the world, and overall rules. The player settings are the same as official servers, except harvesting damage. We basically will harvest twice as fast. So each blow you make to harvest like wood from a tree with an axe, you'll get twice as much wood, etc. Just makes it a little bit faster. For creatures, we have kept most of the default, except their harvesting damage has been boosted from 3.2 to 4. That is to account for the fact that the player harvesting damage is up, so it basically keeps it on par. Everything else is basically the same. I didn't do anything different with structures. For the world, I cut the XP multiplier in half because I felt like I was gaining levels way too fast. I've raised the taming speed and the harvesting yield. So taming speed will allow us to tame animals faster. And the harvest yield means you can whack a tree more times with your axe before it falls down, which means each tree will give you about 3 times as many resources as normal. So if chopping a tree down would get you 10 wood, it'll get you 30 wood. Normally, speed cannot be leveled, so this isn't speed leveling, right? Allowing speed leveling, as in quickly leveling. No, this means allow the leveling of the speed characteristic how fast you run. Normally this is off on servers. I'm probably not going to level it, but I'm turning it on so that if I want to, if I feel like I need to, I can, both for myself and for flying mounts. I've got the maximum difficulty on. This means that creature levels should be up to 150, which is what the live servers do. And we have unlimited respecs on, but we probably won't need that because of the easy engram mod and the crafting skill potions. But there's a way to like take an amnesia potion, forget everything you've learned, and then respec your character completely. I feel like it's silly to do that. You keep forgetting the blueprints you know and then learning new blueprints, and then forgetting them and learning the old ones back again. That's silly, and that's why I've got the mods that I have. Then in terms of rules, I don't have a lot in here, except I have turned single-player settings off, right? Because single-player settings, I think, make the game too easy, and most people who solo ARK turn this off, and gives you more of a live server feel. Now, there's the advanced. There's a whole bunch of complicated stuff. I'll try to go through it as quickly as possible. A lot of this is quality of life. I've turned cave building and cave flyers on. I don't know whether I'm going to use it, but I'm soloing. This is mostly turned off to avoid griefing, but nobody can grief me except the dinosaurs, and I'm going to try to kill them if they grief me. We have turned on non-permanent diseases. That means that diseases won't persist across resurrections. Otherwise, they will persist across multiple resurrections. We have turned off structure decay. It's so annoying the way they do this. Structure decay should either be enabled or disabled. To disable it, you have to turn it on. So we're turning on the disabling of structure decay so our structures won't decay over time, and neither will our dinosaurs. Again, these are that way on live servers so that if people stop logging in, eventually their base will disintegrate and other people can build there. Right, if you're not maintaining it. But we don't have to worry about that, because if we're not maintaining it, we won't be playing the game. We're not changing anything in PvP because we're not playing PvP. In the world, I have increased spoiling time and item decomposition time and corpse decomposition time. I'm not sure if spoiling time is going to be necessary. Several people don't change it, and several people do. So I've gone with the recommendations of the people who do, but I don't know whether that will be necessary. We'll see. I have halved the no resource radius for both players and structures. So this means the distance out to which things won't spawn. So if you're standing in place and you chop down a tree right next to you, it will not respawn unless you back away a certain distance. We have to go half as far for it to respawn, and resources will respawn half the distance around the base that we build than they would on a live server. That's just because there can sometimes be bugs with resource respawning. That's also why I have the resource respawn interval. This is trying to make sure the resources respawn fairly quickly, because there is, I think, still a bug in this game where if you turn the game off when resources haven't respawned, they can get bugged out and never respawn, which isn't a problem for trees and rocks, but it is a problem for valuable resources like crystal, oil, and things like that. Harvest health, we've tripled that, and that means that items that can be harvested will have more materials before they are destroyed. So it increases harvest yield. I've altered the mating interval and the laying interval to be a little quicker. Egg hatch speed is a little faster. Crop growth speed is faster. Crop decay speed is slower. So that when I'm growing crops, I don't have to be constantly tending to them because I don't have other players to help me. And I've altered some of these settings for the baby cuddle intervals and stuff. This is for taming baby dinosaurs when they hatch. When you have mated dinosaurs and they hatch. I'm not sure how these are going to work, so I probably will be playing around with these, but you can see the settings here if you want to play along. Wild dinosaurs, the only thing I've done here is decreased torpidity. That's recommended by a lot of people, so it's a little easier to knock them out. Tamed dinosaurs, what I've done here is increased health a little bit. It defaults to 0.09. I've increased it to 0.15. Stamina defaults to 1. I've done 1.2 on that. Damage, I've gone up from 0.09 to 0.15, and weight I've doubled. And I've basically done the same sort of thing along here and here. These are recommended by multiple soloists as making your tamed dinosaurs a little bit better than the wild ones, but not so much better that you're just going to own the map. The player settings, be careful with this. This doesn't increase your stats to begin with. What it does is it makes gaining the stat easier or harder. So, for instance, I have the weight here as 2. That means instead of each time we level up and we add weight, weight means how much you can carry, it goes up by 10. Normally, it'll go up by 20 because I've doubled it, and melee will go up by 1.5 times. Everything else I've left the same. I don't feel like I need to change any of this. XP multipliers I've left at 1 because the global multiplier is 0.5 for everything. And then under miscellaneous, I turned on floating text damage. I slightly increased the quality of loot crates and fishing loot and crafting skill bonuses and stuff. This is recommended by Teacher's Game 2, I think. That it just makes the crafting of custom blueprints a little bit more lucrative. And we've turned on raid dino feeding, which apparently allows you to train the dinosaurs you find in raid areas. I don't know how much of that we're going to do. And that, guys, is the settings. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the single player mode, and we're going to join the island. And what we're going to do is create the character, and then I'm going to stop it, and then we will enter the game with the next episode, which will be the first episode. So I'm going to pause it here while I work on the character. Okay, folks, this is our character. I've named her Jenya after a role-playing game character I had a while ago. What I try to do with her sort of body options is to go for more like increase the muscular part and decrease the fat. The idea is she's a survivor alone on a desert island. She's not going to have a lot of nutrition. She's not going to have a lot of food, just whatever she can scrounge up. She's going to be doing a lot of working with hand tools and climbing and running and swimming. So she's going to be very athletic and not have a lot of opportunity to gain fat. My guess is she's going to be burning a lot of calories and have a hard time collecting them, right? So I've done that. In terms of her face, the one thing I don't like is there's only one set of eyebrow options in ARK. You know, either have them or you don't. That's it. It's pretty unfortunate. I made her a redhead. I don't know why, with green eyes. I guess it's just what I decided I liked. The hair is... I picked this option, but instead of keeping it long, which I thought would probably get in her way, I've gone with the medium length. I'm sort of two minds. I really like this style. There's a lot of clipping with both styles, and then of course she could just totally put it up. But I prefer having it down a little bit. I feel like it being a little messy is probably what's going to happen most of the time. So this is going to be our survivor, Jenya, and we're going to create her and enter the ARK. So in the next episode, we will join the game and start. So I hope you've enjoyed, and until the next episode, I am Scrapperlock, and this is ARK Survival Ascended.